There's just no way they're going to be able to handle that. It's way over their head. And that's the beautiful part, because God does this to converse with you and say, you and me, let's go at it.
Come on. Yeah.
You and me, let's go at it. What's Israel mean? For too long in the American church, we've had this interpretation that Israel is a prince with God. God's king and they are a prince. But there's not a Hebrew alive in the Old Testament that would have told you Israel means prince of God. They knew what it meant, because they knew who got the name first. It was Jacob. Jacob, the heel catcher, the cheat, the fraud. He meets an angel one night. He knows it's the Lord. And he wrestles all night long with him, and he wins. Let me say that again. He wrestles all night long with the angel, and he wins. He gets to the end of the wrestling match as the sun's coming up, and God says, you got to let me go. I've had enough. And Jacob goes, no, I'm not going to let you go. You're going to have to bless me. And God goes, all right, here's your blessing. Your name is now Israel. Israel means he who contends with God. The honor is yours. You get to wear the badge that you went to the mat with God, that you wrestled with a concept bigger than yourself. Is it too hard to love your enemies? Then go to war with it. Get on the mat and wrestle with what it would look like if you did love your enemies. Wow. Is it too big a concept to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you? Oh, everybody will cheat me. Then wrestle with that concept and go to the mat with it. It ought to be bigger than you're ready to do. Only when it's bigger than you're ready to do you know that it's bigger than you. If you're ready to do everything that flies out at you, you probably haven't met anything yet bigger than yourself. You've become the center of your own universe. It's when you stack up against a God so big, you got to put your hands on it and wrestle it out. That's when we're coming up with something. And that's what Jesus is laying out in front of his disciples every day. Challenges. Hey, let's get in the boat and go to the other side. So they get in the boat and Jesus falls asleep. And the storm comes. And they wake him up. Don't you care that we perish? Of course he cares. He told them, let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side means, let's go to the other side. You're not going to die. I'm asleep in the boat, but you're not going to die. I think it's very possible that when Jesus said, let's go to the other side, what he meant was, let's walk on water. But they went and got a boat. Because the next time he tells them to go to the other side, he tells them to leave me behind. I'm going to show you how to do it. You missed it last time. You went and got a boat, so I jumped in it with you because I jump in your boat all the time. That's the way I am. You want to drag me down that road with you? Let's go. But I'm going to sleep. You can freak out, but I'm going to rest. Because rest is what I do. You freak out, I'll rest. You'll wake me up and question whether I love you anymore. Because that's what you do. And when you question me if I love you anymore, I'll rebuke your storm and ask you where your faith is. Why? Because I expect the faith to be bigger than you can top. I expect you to have to wrestle with this. And then maybe next time I say, let's go to the other side, you say, hold my hand, let's walk on water. Listen, you have a God who never ceases his rest. His rest is eternal. And the evening and the morning were the first day, right? And the evening and the morning were the second day. The evening and the morning were the third day. But it wasn't the evening and the morning were the seventh day. Because the Sabbath, the sun never sets on the Sabbath. Not in the analogy of God. Rest is permanent. When you find that place of rest, and that was Jesus living out of that place of rest. So he's challenging them. So I think we need to get back to being a people who contend with things bigger than we can comprehend and accept that as the acceptable part of Christianity. That some of this is just supposed to be something I'm supposed to go to the mat with. Because otherwise, I don't need faith. And I don't need to wrestle. I want to have something I need to go at it with. And so what Jesus says, and what I want to do, really, I want to just deal with the conversational aspect tonight. Because I think the Father's business, when I say God's business is conversational, I mean it's people-centric. The business of the Father is people-centric. What he loved and what he loves in the life and ministry of Jesus is to sit down and take time with people. It's an aspect of Jesus. We always love to think of the miraculous and the feedings and the healings and the raisings from the dead. But the beautiful moments of Jesus are those moments of silence, those quiet, calm spots in between the explosions. That's most of the time where you find the character of people anyhow. It's in those calm moments. It's the dangling of the arm. It's real. I see that in my own mind when I think of Jesus. It's the dangling of the arm in John 8. Here's a woman caught in the act of adultery. Moses says we should stone her. What do you say we ought to do with her? And Jesus reaches his hand down in the sand and writes in the dirt. And it's that bizarre, it's that odd moment of what is he doing? And I think what he's doing is he's listening to Dad. He's listening to his Father. We're so quick to rush into the moments of silence because silence makes us uncomfortable. Silence causes us struggles. When silence makes you uncomfortable is when you're with someone you're not in relationship with. You don't have a problem with the silence when you're in relationship with somebody. The deeper you get into relationship, the quieter you can get in the moments. You can live with the valley between the volume. In fact, you look forward to the valley between the volume because you get to be the real you. You get to kick your shoes off and relax, not worry about stuff. It's when you're with people you don't know that you've got to be up. That's exhausting. You got to be up. You got to be on your game. You got to be the best version of yourself all the time. You can't have those moments of silence and lull. I think it's why we talk so much when we pray. Because I don't think we're comfortable with our Father. I think we're seriously nervous in front of God. So we chatter the entire prayer. We talk constantly. We go at it as fast and as hard as we can with as many scriptures as we can quote. We even bring notebooks into prayer so we can write stuff down as we think of it. We don't ever just relax and listen. Just walk into the presence of the Father. Here I am, Father. Or maybe nothing at all. We just listen. And that's that dangled arm moment for Jesus. That's what I see. I don't see Jesus writing stuff in the dirt, naming off the male that should be here that's guilty, and writing the Hebrew letter for grace and all this stuff we've come up with would make... I see a Jesus who's struck with a mountain that's bigger than himself. I'm going to need your patience right here for a second, okay? Because when you start talking about Jesus this way, people get nervous because they think, oh, does he believe in the deity of Jesus? I very much believe in the deity of Jesus, but I believe very much in the humanity of Jesus. Maybe more so than a lot of people. I believe Jesus is a man. He's a human. Let me put it that way. He's a human being listening to his dad. And when you're a human being listening to the voice that's from an invisible Father that only you can hear, you struggle sometimes because there's so many other voices going on around you. They're all audible, and they're people you can see. And so it's difficult to listen because everybody else is making noise. And sometimes you've got to reach down and doodle in the sand and stop looking at your circumstances and give up the pretense of having quick answers so people will think you're anointed. So give up the idea that I've got to come up with this fast because I got to be a real leader, and real leaders can't think it over. That's the dumbest thing. Real leaders can't think it over. You don't have to come up with a tweet immediately. You don't have to come up with a statement immediately. You don't have to have a response immediately. We live in such a fast society, we think everybody needs our opinion as fast as they ask for it. Maybe no one ever needs it. And if we stop and think for a moment and go, well, my father might have a different answer than me because I got about 12 answers right now. Yeah. This is why you have to go back and erase stuff. Because you gave those first 3 answers. You know, there's that moment where you just wait. What do you want to say, Dad? Because it's a mountain in front of Jesus. It's bigger than we've acted like it is. Because we think Jesus is just cool and calm in this moment. Like, yeah, bring that adulterous woman to me. I'll show you how to handle this. Moses has a law written with the finger of God. Let me say it again. It's literally written with the finger of God, the 7th commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery. And the end result of being caught doing it is death. And it's in the Torah. And they bring the woman to Jesus and say, now what do you say we ought to do?